Hi everyone, Dr. Suneel Dhand, internal medicine physician. Welcome to another video. I am a minimalist when it comes to medicine. Those of you who watch my videos already know this. I believe that huge swathes of our populations in Western countries are way over-medicated, particularly the elderly population. It is a tragedy. I also have a theory that at any age, over 90% of common medical ailments in Western countries would be completely solved if people simply cut back on eating sugars, refined carbohydrates, ultra-processed foods, and exercised for an hour a day. The problem is that if that happened, the medical establishment would go bankrupt overnight. Therein lies the problem. And I challenge anybody, especially anybody within medicine, to prove me wrong on that. Having said that, there are some excellent categories of medications out there, and I want to share with you my 3 favorite. Now, if you were to ask 5 doctors for their opinion on this, you would get 5 different opinions. This is only my opinion, but all 3 of these categories of medications have been around for a long time, well before widespread corruption entered healthcare, medicine, and science. Number 1, antibiotics. What a game changer for humanity. The discovery of antibiotics in the last century changed everything. Imagine for thousands of years, anyone could get a simple tooth or a skin infection and they would have a fair chance of dying from that infection because there were no antibiotics available. The discovery of penicillin by Sir Alexander Fleming in the last century is one of the greatest medical stories of all time. If you aren't familiar with the story of how he by chance discovered penicillin, please familiarize yourself with that. The discovery was made very near Paddington Station in London, a very famous station, and I've walked past the area many times. There is a plaque dedicated to the building where the discovery was made. Those were the good old days when medical and scientific breakthroughs were made by good, well-intentioned, old-school doctors and professors working in a lab, not a corporate enterprise like science is nowadays. And nowadays, 100 years later, we have even more antibiotics available, and we shouldn't take it for granted that bacterial infections can be fought so easily. For most of human history, this was not the case. Number 2, beta blockers. You will rarely find a category of medication with more clinical indication than beta blockers. I used to teach my students that back in the day when Dr. Dhand used to work in an academic center. I always used to tell my students it is very rare to find a class of medications with more indications. From high blood pressure, hypertension, to heart failure, to migraines, to tremors, beta blockers can be used for many different reasons. And scientifically, they work, in a nutshell, by relaxing the heart and reducing cardiac contractility. If I ever needed a medication for a condition like hypertension, I would want a generic beta blocker like metoprolol or atenolol. I think they are great medications that have been around for a long time. Number 3, anti-inflammatory medications. These encompass a wide variety of medications, including medicines like aspirin, like ibuprofen. Even steroids would come under this category. They are anti-inflammatory, so a medication like prednisone. And when indicated for a short course of time, they can be absolutely transformative for many illnesses. And we even saw that during the pandemic. So those would be my 3 favorite categories of medications if I had to pick. And again, every doctor will have a different opinion. Number 1, antibiotics. Number 2, beta blockers. And number 3, anti-inflammatory medications. Those 3 categories have been transformative over the last 100 years for humanity. And of course, there are other great categories of medications as well. Remember, up until 100 plus years ago, there was no routine anesthesia for operations. There are some horrendous historical medical stories of people undergoing operations with no anesthetic. Imagine that. We are very lucky to be living today. But of course, the downside of living today in this corporate environment where big business basically owns whole governments is that many drugs and therapeutics pushed nowadays by the profit-driven medical establishment and big pharmaceutical companies are complete and utter junk. But I wanted to share with you in this video, because I talk a lot about medications I don't like, 3 categories of medications that have been excellent for humanity. Thank you everyone for listening. Feel free to comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Remember, the best thing you can do is live an anti-inflammatory lifestyle so that you stand the best possible chance of staying away from medications. That should be the ultimate goal. Check out my Real Health Academy and my Uncensored platform. Those links are down below. Hit the like button if you like this video and the bell button for more similar videos in the future. We will speak again next time.